You speak too much. That is your first mistake. Your tongue has been your own executioner more times than you realize. Yet, you continue to believe that words are harmless, that speaking is strength. You expose yourself with every syllable. You show your hand, your weaknesses, your intentions, your fears, and you imagine the world is fair enough to respect your honesty. No, the world is a battlefield, and every word you utter is a signal fire to your enemies, a map of your vulnerabilities, a torch that burns your disguise. You think speech is harmless because you still live under the illusion that men value truth. They don't. They value advantage. And every time you open your mouth without calculation, you hand them an advantage. You live surrounded by spies, though you do not see them. Colleagues, friends, even lovers. They listen. They file away. They calculate. A single phrase spoken at the wrong time creates enemies that will wait years to strike. I have seen rulers fall not by assassins' blades, but by careless tongues. One sentence, one opinion, one indulgence of honesty uttered at the wrong hour, and kingdoms collapsed. Yet you, common and powerless as you are, continue to speak as though your words carry no weight. They carry weight enough to bury you alive. You have been taught since birth to speak your mind, to be honest, to express yourself. Do you not see the trap? This doctrine was fed to you by those who benefit when you reveal yourself. The powerful know silence is armor. They want the weak to strip themselves bare with chatter. You were trained to be transparent because transparency makes you predictable, manipulable, weak. Every careless word is an open flank on your battlefield of existence, and the enemy does not always attack in daylight. They wait until you are surrounded, until your supply lines are thin, until you have grown comfortable. Then they strike not with their own force, but with the intelligence you handed them freely through your mouth. Why are you blind to this? Because you are desperate for recognition. You speak to prove your existence, to seek approval, to be noticed. You betray yourself out of hunger for attention. This weakness is exploited by everyone above you. The courtier listens to your opinions, not because they care, but because they measure how naive you are. The superior asks for your thoughts not to honor you, but to catalogue which directions you lean, where you can be bent, where you can be broken. When you speak unguardedly, you mark yourself as prey. You volunteer your position on the chessboard to an opponent who is patient enough to remain silent. You think silence is passive. It is not. Silence is strategy. Silence is reconnaissance. Silence forces others to reveal themselves first, to overextend, to expose their flanks. A silent man on the battlefield compels others to speak nervously, filling the void, handing him intelligence while he gives away nothing. A silent commander keeps his troops disciplined, his supply lines hidden, his intentions concealed until the strike comes. But you treat silence as emptiness, and chatter as life. That is why you remain surrounded by those who know your weaknesses better than you do. Now listen carefully. There are moments where opening your mouth is the same as placing the dagger in your enemy's hand and guiding it toward your own throat. These are the 9 situations where your words will destroy you. I will not soften them. I will not comfort you. My task is not to console, but to arm you with the ruthless clarity of survival. You will resist me, because you love the sound of your own voice. But if you ignore this warning, you will remain a pawn, forever exposed, forever bleeding from self-inflicted wounds. The first situation, when your anger is boiling. You believe anger gives your words force. No, it robs you of control. A single outburst reveals your true priorities, the wounds that pierce you, the triggers that control you. The enemy does not need to attack your fortress if you show him where the cracks lie. Silence in rage is discipline. Silence in rage is the reinforcement of walls. Speak in anger, and you supply the siege engines to your adversaries. Every ruler who ever collapsed in disgrace did so after uncontrolled words in fury. Recorded, repeated, weaponized. The second situation, when others demand your opinion. This is not respect. It is a trap. They want to map your allegiances, to test whether you are safe to manipulate or dangerous to oppose. If you answer, you commit. If you speak too quickly, you place yourself on one side of a battlefield you do not yet control. Remaining silent forces them to reveal their position first, to commit their resources. While you preserve your army intact, your opinion is not a gift to hand out, it is a strategic resource, rationed and deployed only when it strengthens your position. The third situation, when you know less than you think, your ignorance becomes visible in every word. Men who listen to you will never forget that you once exposed your lack of knowledge. That weakness will be used against you at the most inconvenient moment. Better to ask calculated questions than to pretend to knowledge you lack. Silence can be read as wisdom. Words, once spoken, cannot be disguised. They will remain like arrows embedded in the walls of your fortress. Proof that you once left it undefended. The fourth situation, when you are in the presence of someone more powerful. You believe speaking elevates you in their eyes. It does not. It diminishes you. It makes you appear eager to please, desperate for recognition. A superior values silence because it shows discipline, restraint, and mastery of the self. They already suspect your loyalty. Your words will only confirm your weakness. Many who sought to impress their masters with chatter ended up marked as liabilities, discarded when their usefulness expired. You must speak rarely, and when you do, your words must be as precise as arrows aimed at the heart. The fifth situation, when you are negotiating from weakness. This is the most fatal of all errors. You reveal your desperation, your boundaries, your bottom line, when silence could have concealed them. In negotiation, the one who speaks less controls the tempo, the battlefield, the psychology. You who speak more are the one being cornered, surrounded, manipulated. A general who reveals his supply limits to the enemy signs his own death warrant. Learn to let silence pressure the opponent until they reveal their concessions. Your tongue must be chained until you hold the advantage. The sixth situation, when you are boasting, you believe your achievements impress. They do not. They breed resentment, envy, and quiet plots against you. Words of self-praise are like parading your army banners before the enemy you draw their fire. You paint targets on yourself. You invite attack. True power announces itself without words. The silent commander is feared more than the one who shouts his victories. Your reputation is not built by what you say of yourself, but by what others whisper in your absence. Silence multiplies myths. Boasting breeds enemies. The seventh situation, when you are confessing too much to friends. Friendship is not immunity. Alliances shift. Loyalty is fragile. And every confession becomes a dagger, waiting in the dark. Should that bond fracture, the secrets you reveal in trust will one day fuel betrayal. The battlefield changes, and yesterday's ally becomes today's rival. Silence is not disloyalty. Silence is survival. Do not mistake intimacy for security. Every word you entrust to another is a hostage you may never retrieve. The eighth situation, when you are uncertain of your role. You think filling the silence proves your place. Instead, it proves your insecurity. The one who speaks without authority shows he has none. The one who waits, measures, and strikes with calculated precision forces others to recognize his authority. A chain of command is built on discipline, not noise. Silence preserves your aura of control. Chatter destroys it. Better to be feared for your silence than ridiculed for your words. The ninth situation, when the outcome is not yet decided. You are impatient to declare, to commit, to reveal your intentions before the battlefield is set. This is weakness. The wise commander keeps his forces concealed until the decisive moment. The silent player allows others to reveal their strategies, their alliances, their weaknesses. If you speak too soon, you forfeit the element of surprise. The most powerful weapon in any campaign, silence keeps the enemy blind. Words illuminate your movements for them. You see now why your mouth has been your ruin. Every situation above is one you have stumbled into blindly, bleeding yourself with words, thinking you were strong while you were being catalogued and measured for destruction. This is why you remain subordinate, why you continue to lose influence, why others seem always to be one step ahead. You hand them the reconnaissance they need. You supply their strategy. You feed their intelligence lines. You are your own spy, betraying yourself daily. Enough. Discipline begins now. You must think of every conversation as a battlefield operation. Every word you speak must be weighed like the placement of troops. Every silence must be intentional. Every pose a tactical maneuver. You are not permitted the luxury of emotional chatter. You are not a child. You are a strategist, or you are nothing but fodder. Which will you be? You are beginning to understand. But you resist. You cling to the fantasy that speech equals freedom. That silence is weakness. That if you remain quiet, you will disappear. You fear invisibility more than you fear death. That is why you sabotage yourself with noise. You would rather be noticed and vulnerable than invisible and untouchable. This is the psychology of the pawn. The pawn moves forward loudly, openly, predictably, and dies first. The general waits in silence, hidden in the fog, until the exact moment of strike, and you wonder why you lose. It is because you mistake chatter for movement, noise for power, and confession for connection. That is why you are conquered again and again. I have warned rulers and courtiers alike. The battlefield is psychological before it is physical. Words are not neutral. They are arrows that cannot be retrieved once loosed. Every time you open your mouth, you fire into the dark, but the enemy collects your arrows and fires them back. Silence, on the other hand, is a fortress. It withholds ammunition. Frustrates reconnaissance, forces the opponent to waste their energy guessing. You believe silence will make others distrust you. They already distrust you. Distrust is the default of men. Silence merely denies them weapons. Better to be suspected than to be predictable. Consider why you speak when you should not. You think you will gain sympathy. You believe others will see your vulnerability and respect it. They will not. They will exploit it. Vulnerability is only power when it is a weapon you control. When you display it deliberately to deceive, to lure, to disarm. But you display it out of compulsion, out of hunger for release, out of weakness. That is not strategy. That is surrender. You turn the key to your own prison and hand it to your rival. Do you not see how pitiful this is? And yet you persist, thinking you are brave, when in truth, you are unarmed. Let us return to the battlefield. In war, reconnaissance is everything. An enemy commander will sacrifice battalions to learn the position of your supply lines. Your morale, your reinforcements, your words are those supply lines. Every opinion, every confession, every careless phrase gives away the location of your stores. And once the enemy knows, he can starve you into submission without ever firing a shot. He will block your supply of trust. He will cut off your reinforcements of allies. He will let time and hunger eat you alive. This is how rulers are destroyed. Not by armies, but by whispers that grew from their own tongues. You say you want allies. Then learn this. Allies respect restraint, not excess. The man who speaks too freely is marked as unreliable. No general trusts a subordinate who cannot control his own mouth. In councils of power, silence is mistaken for wisdom. The quiet man is thought deep, calculating, dangerous. The talkative man is thought shallow, reckless, weak. You may think you impress with your words. You do not. You bleed credibility with every unmeasured phrase. You are remembered not for your strength, but for your indiscretion. And once marked as indiscreet, no one entrusts you with true power. You think you are honest. Honesty is a luxury of the powerless. The powerful cannot afford it. They deal in perception, in deception, in strategy. Truth is a weapon useful only when deployed with calculation. You cling to honesty as though it were a virtue. It is not. It is an exposure. To speak the truth carelessly is to strip naked on the battlefield and expect not to be pierced by arrows. Only the naive believe truth will save them. Truth, like gold, is valuable precisely because it is rare, guarded, concealed until the decisive moment when it can be traded for maximum advantage. You squander it like a fool scattering coins in the mud. Understand this. Silence does not mean passivity. It means dominance. Silence places others in discomfort. They will rush to fill the void with their own confessions, their own weaknesses, their own desperate noise. And you will listen. You will record. You will measure. You will build your strategy on the intelligence they volunteer. This is how the silent man accumulates power, not by shouting, but by forcing others to reveal themselves first. The talker feeds the silent man. The silent man devours without ever lifting his sword. Do you see now the cost of your chatter? It is not abstract. It is precise. Every word has cost you influence, trust, and security. You have lost opportunities because someone remembered something you said years ago. You have been excluded from power because your mouth proved you were unreliable. You have been undermined in negotiations because you revealed your bottom line. You have been betrayed by friends who used your own confessions as currency. You think these wounds were random misfortunes. They were not. They were the direct consequences of your undisciplined mouth. And still, you do not learn. I have seen men destroyed in councils because of one careless phrase. I have seen ambassadors dismissed because their words betrayed their king's true position. I have seen generals assassinated not for their strength, but for their indiscretions. Power is not taken by the sword alone. It is taken by the ear. Whoever controls what is heard controls the battlefield. You must decide now. Will you remain the fool who supplies the enemy with intelligence? Or will you become the strategist who starves the enemy of knowledge? Discipline begins with silence. Do not imagine this is easy. Silence will burn you at first. It will feel like suffocation. You will itch to speak, to fill the void, to prove your existence. That is weakness. Endure it. Train yourself as a soldier trains to resist pain. Every moment you resist speaking when you want to. You sharpen your blade. Every time you swallow words you once would have spilled, you reinforce your fortress walls. Every silence is a victory, a small conquest of the self, and only he who conquers himself can command others. But silence alone is not enough. Silence is the shield. Strategy is the sword. You must learn to speak with precision, with purpose, with lethal economy. When you do open your mouth, it must be as decisive as the strike of a dagger in the dark. A few words, cutting, measured, unavoidable. A commander who gives too many orders is ignored. A commander who speaks only at the critical moment is obeyed. Your words must have the weight of scarcity, the force of inevitability. They must end discussion, not prolong it. They must pierce, not scatter. From this moment, you must think of yourself as standing in a war council every time you enter a conversation. The room is full of spies, Every ear is an enemy scout. Every question is a probe for weakness. You cannot afford to be careless. You must answer only when it serves you. You must reveal nothing that can be used against you. You must learn the art of counter-interrogation, answering without answering, speaking without revealing, redirecting with questions that force others to expose themselves while you remain armored. This is the discipline of the strategist. This is the training of a commander. Do not deceive yourself into thinking you can afford exceptions. You tell yourself, but with friends, I can speak freely. No. With lovers, perhaps no. With family, still no. Power is not a game you can pause. The battlefield does not end because you call someone a friend. Alliances shift. Loyalties fracture. Today's ally may be tomorrow's rival. The words you spoke in trust will not disappear. They will resurface when the tides turn. The one who is closest to you is the one best positioned to betray you. If you doubt me, count how many men in history were destroyed, not by enemies but by friends turned adversaries. It is always those closest to you who wield your words like a dagger. Your silence must be consistent. Your discipline unbroken. There are no exceptions. You may think this makes you cold. Good. Cold is survival. Warmth belongs to the powerless who cling to one another for comfort. The strategist does not seek comfort. He seeks victory. You will not be loved for your silence, but you will be feared. You will not be adored for your restraint, but you will be respected. Which matters more on the battlefield of life, affection or command? Choose. Because the two rarely coexist, you must reforge your entire relationship to speech. From this day forward, every word is a soldier you deploy. Do not waste them. Do not scatter them recklessly. Position them with precision. Use them when they advance your line, when they fortify your position, when they break the enemy's morale. Otherwise, keep them in reserve. A general who wastes his soldiers in every skirmish has nothing left for the decisive battle. You have wasted your soldiers with chatter, and that is why you remain defenseless. Enough. Rebuild your army in silence. You may resist me, but reality will not. The battlefield does not care for your feelings. The consequences of your tongue will continue until you impose discipline. Do not think you can cheat this law. Every careless phrase is recorded. Every confession is stored. Every weakness revealed will be used. You cannot undo what you have spoken, but you can prevent what you would have spoken next. The war for your survival begins with your tongue. If you cannot control it, you cannot control anything. Now choose. Continue as you are chattering, bleeding, predictable, forever, a pawn or impose silence, discipline, and ruthless calculation. Become a commander of yourself, a strategist of your speech, a ruler of your words. Never open your mouth in those 9 fatal situations. If you do, you will be destroyed. If you don't, you will outsmart all. The choice is yours. You resist silence because you are addicted to weakness. Your addiction is not to alcohol or opium, but to attention. You crave to be heard, to be acknowledged, to be validated. That craving is your leash, and others tug it whenever they please. They know you will betray yourself for the illusion of recognition. You think speaking makes you visible. No, speaking makes you naked. A visible man is one who is obeyed, one whose presence compels silence in others. You are not visible, you are noisy. You mistake noise for presence. You mistake chatter for power. And because you cannot endure the discomfort of restraint, you remain trapped in mediocrity. Listen with the discipline of a soldier. Every time you open your mouth without calculation, you surrender position. You show your placement on the battlefield, your numbers, your morale. You reveal what enrages you, what seduces you, what frightens you. And once revealed, these things can be used to break you. When you speak in anger, the enemy learns where to press. When you boast, the enemy learns what you are desperate to protect. When you confess, the enemy learns what you fear losing. You call this being authentic. I call it opening the gates of your fortress and handing the enemy the keys. You believe speech builds trust. It does not. Trust is built on predictability of action, not abundance of words. Too many words create doubt, not certainty. A commander who explains too much reveals he doubts himself. A commander who orders with precision is obeyed because there is no room for negotiation. The powerful do not explain. They declare. They do not chatter. They act. You flood others with words because you do not trust your own authority. And in drowning them with explanations, you diminish yourself further. Understand this psychological truth. Men do not want honesty. They want usefulness. They want you to supply what they lack, to reinforce what they already believe, to confirm what benefits them. When your words do not serve their purposes, they discard them or twist them. Yet you continue to pour yourself out, thinking truth will be rewarded. You still live in the fantasy that virtue is recognized. It is not. What is recognized is power. What is rewarded is strategy. What is obeyed is silence leveraged with precision. Brutal clarity. Your honesty has never saved you. It has only weakened you. Look at history. I once warned that rulers fall more from careless words than from hostile armies. Why? Because words travel faster than soldiers. They infiltrate walls. They poison allies. They ignite revolt. An army can be repelled. A phrase cannot. Once released, it multiplies beyond your control. A general can retreat and regroup. A word cannot retreat. It becomes a banner for enemies, a justification for betrayal, a record of your weakness. And you are foolish enough to scatter words like grain before pigeons. They peck, they gather, they disperse, and when the moment comes, they return as a flock to devour you. This is why silence is not cowardice. Silence is armor. Silence is the discipline of the commander who knows patience wins wars. The silent man creates mystery. Mystery creates fear. Fear creates respect. The talkative man creates familiarity. Familiarity creates contempt. Contempt creates betrayal. Which path do you prefer? To be respected and feared through restraint, or to be despised through your own uncontrolled mouth? Do not answer me. Your answer will be proven in your actions, not your words. Now you ask, what then shall I do? The answer is brutal. Stop speaking where you once vomited your weakness. Train yourself as a soldier trains his body. Each silence is a drill. Each restraint, a weapon sharpened. Speak rarely, as if each word cost you blood, because it does. Every unnecessary word is blood spilled for nothing. Every silence is blood preserved for the decisive strike. You must begin to think like a strategist, not a child. Before speaking, measure. Does this word advance my position? Does it weaken my enemy? Does it fortify my allies? If the answer is no, remain silent. You are not obligated to fill the air. Only fools believe silence is emptiness. Silence is presence. Silence forces others to reveal themselves, to fill the gap with their own weakness. Your silence is not void. It is pressure. It compels others to act rashly. While you observe, record, and calculate. This is the essence of strategy. Force the opponent to move first, while you remain concealed. Let me show you the true cost of your lack of discipline. You have been passed over for power because you revealed too much in councils. You have been manipulated in negotiations because you showed your desperation. You have been betrayed in friendships because you confessed secrets. You have been disrespected by superiors because you tried to impress them with chatter. These are not accidents. These are the mathematical consequences of your mouth. Each time you opened it in those 9 situations, you signed away your command. And until you stop, you will continue to bleed. Now understand this tactical law. The fewer words you speak, the heavier each word becomes. Scarcity multiplies value. A man who speaks endlessly is forgotten. A man who speaks rarely is remembered. His silence builds anticipation. His words strike with precision. He creates the impression of wisdom not because he knows more, but because he reveals less. Perception becomes reality. Men begin to think him deep, calculating, unshakable. His silence creates the illusion of strength. And illusions, when maintained with discipline, become indistinguishable from truth. You may think this requires intelligence. It does not. It requires restraint. Even the fool can appear wise if he keeps his mouth closed. Even the coward can appear courageous if he refuses to confess his fear. Even the weak can appear dangerous if they reveal nothing. Silence equalizes. It allows the unarmed to appear armed, the vulnerable to appear untouchable, the powerless to appear mysterious. You discard this weapon daily, because you cannot endure the discomfort of holding your tongue, and so you continue to bleed. Ask yourself, how many enemies know your weaknesses because you told them? How many rivals maneuvered ahead because you revealed your plan? How many betrayals were prepared with ammunition you supplied, and still you hesitate to stop? This hesitation is weakness. Weakness is death. You must either destroy it now or accept your role as pawn forever. There is no middle ground. From this moment forward, you must treat silence as a campaign of war. Your tongue is a soldier. It does not move without orders. It does not act without calculation. It does not rush forward into ambush. It waits, disciplined, ready, and when it strikes, it does not miss. Your words must become like arrows fired from concealment, rare, precise, lethal. Otherwise, you are not a strategist. You are a victim. And hear this final warning for now. The enemy does not always reveal himself as an enemy. Sometimes he comes as friend, ally, confidant. That is when your silence is most important. The battlefield is not only open conflict, it is alliances, shifting loyalties, betrayals in the night. If you cannot master silence with friends, you will never survive when they become rivals. Remember, it is always those closest to you who can wound you deepest. Your silence is your only insurance. Break it, and you will one day be gutted by your own words, in the mouth of someone you once trusted. You are at war every day of your life. Act like it. You still hesitate. You still cling to the childish belief that words will save you, that if you explain yourself enough, others will understand you, protect you, forgive you. That belief is poison. Men do not forgive. They wait. They gather. They calculate. And when the moment comes, they strike with the very information you fed them. Your words are not protection. They are chains. You forged them yourself. You shackled yourself with them, and still you beg for more. I strip away the illusion. The world is not a marketplace of ideas. It is a battlefield of perception. Every phrase you speak shifts the lines of power either for you or against you. There is no neutral word. Each syllable builds or destroys. And because you have been careless, most of your words have destroyed. They have undermined your authority, weakened your reputation, drained your advantage. You think yourself a victim. You are not. You are the architect of your own downfall. And your mouth was the tool. Now hear this. Silence is not absence. Silence is presence. Silence is command. When you remain silent, Others begin to orbit around you. Uncertain, anxious, desperate for signals. They talk. They confess. They betray themselves while you gather intelligence. You, in your weakness, cannot endure that tension. You rush to fill the void, to ease their discomfort, to feed them clarity. And in doing so, you give away your position. A true strategist lets others squirm. He lets them guess, argue, reveal, fracture. He lets them bleed themselves dry while he preserves his reserves. That is the discipline you must acquire. That is the command you must embody. I tell you again, there are 9 situations in which opening your mouth is fatal. 9 traps that have ensnared you countless times. Rage, opinion, ignorance, superiority, weakness, boasting, confession, insecurity, prématurée déclaration. Each one is a battlefield where silence is survival and speech is surrender. You have walked into each ambush willingly, again and again. Enough. If you continue, you deserve the ruin that follows. You will be forgotten, discarded, enslaved by those who mastered the art of restraint while you drowned in noise. You want freedom, you want command, then begin with silence. Let your words become weapons, not waste. Let your sentences strike like arrows, not scatter like dust. Speak rarely, so that when you do, men lean forward. Speak precisely, so that your words cannot be twisted. Speak strategically, so that each phrase advances your line of power. Anything else is weakness. Anything else is death. Do not mistake me. I am not offering comfort. There is none. I am not offering hope. Hope is for the naive. I am offering clarity, and clarity is a blade. It cuts illusions, and it cuts you. You will bleed, but you will see. And in seeing, you will finally have the chance to rise above the mass of pawns who destroy themselves with chatter. You will finally grasp command if you have the discipline to endure silence. Imagine yourself as a commander on the eve of battle. Your troops wait. Your enemies listen. One wrong word reveals your plan. One boast provokes an attack before you are ready. One confession of weakness collapses morale. Do you chatter then? Do you fill the air with explanations? No. You speak with lethal precision. You give only what is necessary. You hold back until the decisive moment. That is how you must live every day. Life is war. Every room is a battlefield. Every conversation is a counsel. Every word is a maneuver. Forget this, and you remain cannon fodder. Remember it, and you may yet seize command. You may ask, is it worth it? Is it worth living with such discipline, such restraint, such cold calculation? The answer is simple. What is the alternative? To continue as you are, predictable, manipulable, disposable. To live as a pawn, sacrificed at the convenience of those who understood what you never learned. That is your choice, silence and strategy, or chatter and death, cold command, or warm weakness, respect born of restraint, or contempt born of noise. There is no middle ground. You cannot have both. Decide. I do not beg you. I command you. Close your mouth. Discipline your tongue. Treat every word as a soldier, every silence as a fortress, every conversation as a battlefield. Never open your mouth in those 9 fatal situations. If you do, you destroy yourself. If you don't, you outsmart all in. The law is absolute. Defy it, and you remain conquered. Obey it, and you rise. The choice is yours. But remember, history does not forgive the undisciplined. Power does not tolerate the weak, The battlefield does not pity the careless. Silence or ruin, command or death. Choose.